Our vision at Clybiau Plant Cymru Kids Clubs is a Wales where children play and communities prosper.
We are the voice of out-of-school childcare clubs in Wales. Working closely with Welsh Government and through support from other funders allows us to ensure that we not only guide but give a voice to the out-of-school childcare sector, using our local knowledge from operational level staff. Our Board of Trustees, elected from our members, ensure the best interest of clubs and other stakeholders are considered in our management decisions. We welcome new and diverse representation from the sector and also seek co-opted trustees who can bring specific skills such as financial management or marketing.
Since we were established in 2001, we've refined our sector-specific expertise, and we're best placed to help steer out-of-school childcare clubs and communities across Wales to support the needs of children, their families and the Welsh economy.
I joined the Board of Trustees for Clybiau Plant Cymru Kids Clubs because I wanted to make a difference in the childcare and play sector. I wanted to have a voice and I wanted to also be part of the change with the sector.
I don't think clubs can actually function without Clybiau's support. Policies, ideas, problems, you just need to pick the phone up and they're there straight away to answer any queries that you have.
The things I value most about Clybiau Plant Cymru is the opportunities to go on courses to update our skills and improve on our work.
We support children's right to play and quality childcare. Our passionate team of training officers deliver essential qualifications in play work, which is a vital part of growing and evolving the sector and securing its future. We deliver training, online and in person, to continue the professional development of play workers and enhance the quality of play provision. We also deliver practical workshops with children directly within clubs, offering opportunities to develop skills and confidence in a playful way. We support sustainable, affordable childcare that meets the needs of children, their families and communities. Our knowledgeable childcare business development officers provide easily accessible, sector-specific business skills mentoring for prospective, new or established out-of-school childcare businesses of all management types, in person or remotely to meet their needs. We're constantly developing new bilingual resources, templates and guides, with lots of passionate staff working behind the scenes to make this happen. We support out-of-school childcare clubs to meet the needs of communities and reflect the diversity within them. We've pledged to support Cymraeg 2050, and we take pride in our commitment to the Welsh language and in encouraging those we work with to use and appreciate its worth. Visit www.clybiauplantcymru.org.
Get involved with the amazing work that we do. We're only one click away.
Pa quality sy'n cymryd i fod yn gweithio chwarae wych. Fi'n credu i fod yn gweithio chwarae wych mae angen chi rhoi amser i'r plant, mae angen chi gwrando, mae angen chi fod yn hwyl, mae angen iddo chi gallu fod yn dynameg, mae angen chi gallu addasu, a mae rhaid i chi fod yn caring, ti angen gofalu am y plant, ti moyn mwyn gofalu am y plant, a os mae hwnna'n dod gyntaf, wedyn popeth arall gallu cwmpa mewn lle.
I actually used to go to the after-school club here to be able to have an impact as much as they had an impact on me. Even if it's just in the smallest ways, that just makes my day.
I go around hundreds of different play settings in out-of-school childcare over the years doing training. I've never seen one job the same and one playwork role the same. I think it's the playwork approach that is really important and making sure that the playwork approach comes through in every playwork role.
I'm always willing to let children explore and experiment, and I try not to say no. I try and say, why don't we instead? So as a play worker, your responsibility is to facilitate a pathway for people to play. Not just children, young adults, young people, adults. You never stop playing. You shouldn't stop playing. The way you play changes. And I think it's very important to be reminded of that.
I'd say 100% to just go for it. It's so important, and you can see like us creating this kind of ethos and this amazing environment where people can learn, and it's child-led. I think it's so important.
What are your favourite play memories from your childhood?
One of my favourite childhood memories when I was growing up was playing with all the kids in the street. We'd get our bikes out, we'd get the tricycles out, we'd get the go-karts out, and we'd have races around the street.
My favourite childhood play memory would be playing with Cindy's and the big doll's house that I had.
My favourite play memory from childhood is being on the beach with my nana, helping to make sandcastles, watching the Alaman boat go in and out, and spending the whole day there with a picnic.
The world has changed, but children's need for play hasn't. Out-of-school childcare clubs run before school, after school and during school holidays to give your children that compensatory play space where they can explore, improve social skills, confidence and happiness, play more, try new activities and develop new skills and friendships.
Play is important for children because it just helps on so many levels. They learn through their play, they can be creative, they can be themselves.
I think play is really important for children because it builds resilience, it helps them to negotiate risk, it helps them holistically develop.
Children have the freedom to do what they want to do.
I think inclusive childcare is really important because every child needs to have the opportunity to play.
Whether you're working from home, travelling to a workplace, or simply wanting your child to benefit from quality, fun play experiences with their peers, out-of-school childcare clubs can help. You probably already know someone who's relying on an out-of-school childcare club to work, train or for respite. Play workers and out-of-school childcare clubs support the wider economy, as well as nurturing a creative, resilient next generation with their own set of play memories.
We as a family use a childcare after school club because I don't have any family or close friends nearby that can help out with childcare. Me and my husband both work full-time for the NHS, so having someone that you can depend on to pick up your child after school, knowing that they're in a safe and fun environment means a big difference to us as a family.
In the classroom, it's all structured learning, so it's nice to have the time to play with the friends that she's made in school.
So I did pick her up at kind of school time, but then she'd end up coming home with me, and then I'm working from home, so she'd just be in the house watching TV. So she gets a lot more here.
Because my daughter's an only child, and it's really important for me that she has a variety of children that she can play with of all different ages and all different backgrounds.
Out-of-school childcare clubs reflect the needs and diversity of their local communities. But to stay open, keep fees low and continue providing their much-needed services, they need to be used. You can find out about local out-of-school childcare clubs via Clwbiau Plant Cymru Kids Club's website, Dewis Cymru, or through Care Inspectorate Wales's website. Using a club that is registered with Care Inspectorate Wales means that staff will be qualified, DBS checked, and that the service will be meeting the national minimum standards. It also opens up financial assistance schemes where you're eligible.
What will your children's favourite play memories be?
Are you passionate about play and about supporting children and their rights? Do you want to make a difference to children and their families within your community? Working within breakfast clubs, after-school clubs and holiday clubs, play workers provide a safe and welcoming environment for children, with lots of opportunities to play, explore and inspire imaginations. With the help of Clwbiau Plant Cymru Kids Clubs, you can gain the qualification you need whilst working within an out-of-school club, helping you to understand all about the many benefits of play and the playwork principles.
I absolutely love working in the playwork sector for so many reasons. The list is endless, but the most important thing is my job is fun. Every day is fun. Every day we're making memories.
I love being a play worker because I get paid to play. I can just be a big kid and enjoy myself. It beats being an office job.
It's a privilege to work alongside the children.
I got into childcare 13 years ago because I had 2 young children. I went into early years and I started helping out in an after-school club and a play scheme, and I really fell in love with it because of how we covered the age range. And then I ended up doing all my qualifications, and I had an opportunity to support somebody doing training in play work, and I fell in love with seeing how the spark of people and how much they developed in play. So I decided to get into assessing and become a training officer.
I started primary school teaching 8 years ago, a career which I loved, but recently I've decided to make a change and I currently work as a play worker in a setting that I love. I've been there since October 2018. A few of the things that appealed to me were that I thought I could still use my teaching skills because some of the roles are quite similar. So you're still in charge and looking after a large group of children, putting their welfare, their safeguarding at the forefront of everything you do. However, I feel with play work you have more of a chance to build a stronger relationship with the children. You get to enjoy the role and have more fun with it, really.
We're very fortunate that most of the children that join us when they're 4, we see them right through to their 11. So you can see kind of how they develop and they learn the new skills, like the look on their faces when they've achieved something and they've done it themselves. That, I mean, there's so much they get out of playing. I think diversity in the play workforce is incredibly important because Wales is a multicultural society, and I just think it's important for children from ethnic minority backgrounds to be able to see somebody that looks like them.
Quite like about play work in that it's learning through play. The children, you give them the options and they can kind of choose to do what they want. It's not forced, not teaching them as such, you're just overseeing it, facilitating it.
Play workers are the beating heart of the out-of-school childcare sector. As a play work professional, you'll provide quality childcare, enriching children through play, whilst also providing vital support to the wider economy. To find out more about starting your career in playwork, visit www.clubiauplantcymru.org.
Make a difference, become a play worker. Wnewch gwahaniaeth, byddwch yn gweithio chwarae.
Croeso I Cynhadledd a Seremoni Wobrwyo Gofal Plant All-Ysgol 2025. Welcome to our Out-of-School Childcare Conference and Awards Ceremony for 2025. I'm Jane O'Toole, Chief Executive Officer. Hoffwn roi croeso cynnes I enwebion ein gwyborau, clwbiau, gweithio chwarae, gwirthwyddolwyr ac eraill sy'n ymuno ac Cynhadledd ar YouTube and Facebook Live. I would like to give a warm welcome to our award nominees, clubs, play workers, volunteers and others joining our conference on YouTube. And the first time for me, Facebook Live. Rwyf hefyd yn gyffrous I groesawu ein siaradwyr gwadd. I'm also excited to welcome our guests here on our StreamYard platform. Sharon Eastlake, Head of Childcare and Play Policy and Legislation, Early Years Childcare and Play Division, Welsh Government. Pip Dimmock, Chief Executive Officer, Interplay. And Martin King-Sheard, Workforce Development Officer, Play Wales. Thanks must also go to the organisations who've supported this evening's event by sponsoring several of the awards. Tonight is an opportunity to say thank you and to value and celebrate our out-of-school childcare sector. Before we start, just some quick housekeeping. As participants, we will not be able to see you or hear you. However, you can message through YouTube or Facebook, and all working well, we'll see your comments and questions in the chat function in StreamYard. There will, of course, be opportunities to ask questions to each presenter, and any that we can't get to, we'll follow up after the conference. Tonight's agenda includes, as already mentioned, a really exciting lineup of speakers, interspersed with award presentations and recognition of our Playwork graduates, Welsh learners and Welsh Promise achievers. To start, recognition must go to the training team, who won the Professional Development Award 2025 at the National Playwork Awards and Conference. We're delighted with this recognition and honoured to receive this prestigious award. My thanks goes to Dawn and her team and their continued enthusiasm and passion for the work and support for the playwork sector. They continue to upskill the workforce to use a playwork approach in all areas of their life, not just their professional one. The training they deliver has a huge impact on learners' thinking and the way that they view play and their role as a play worker. To continue on the good news theme, I'm also delighted to confirm that Moondance Foundation are once again, for the 4th year, able to offer free membership for all clubs until March 26. You'll have received an email with all of the details on how to renew, and just as a reminder, renewing will give you continued access to our professional and knowledgeable team for support, resources, template policies and guidance, along with weekly bulletins and quarterly newsletters. You'll also be the first to hear about funded playwork qualifications and CPD opportunities. The funding from Moondance Foundation will also allow us to continue our Assisted Places scheme, supporting disadvantaged children and their families and helping us to sustain clubs by taking up spare places. As in the previous years, it's intended that clubs will work with schools and social workers to offer these places to children in a non-stigmatised way. Look out for more details on our socials and website and sign up to our weekly bulletin for information on its launch. This year, the Moondance Foundation have once again recognised how much the out-of-school childcare sector have done to support children's opportunities to play through difficult economic times, and have in fact increased their donation to allow the sector to continue to make an impact on young lives. This donation will allow us to subsidise an increased amount of places this year, a minimum of 2,700 places, for we hope at least 90 children in at least 45 clubs. We're really grateful to the trustees of the Moondance Foundation for this support and their recognition of the roles that the clubs play in providing the best outcomes for children in Wales, whatever they're going through. We also welcome the extension to our Welsh Government training and support programme, enabling us to deliver at least 360 playwork qualifications over the next year, a range of level 2 and level 3 qualifications that will support new recruits and volunteers in the sector, as well as upskill existing staff. Tonight we'll be hearing about the incredible number of playwork graduates who have achieved qualification in the last 12 months. Also, clubs engagement with continual professional development to improve their practice, with significant uptake and interest in our Welsh CAMI courses, Welsh Promise and DARPL Culham anti-racist training. In the last year, through various projects, we've seen the quality, sustainability and governance of clubs engaging with us go from strength to strength. Our excellent team of childcare business development officers, led by Alex and Nicole, have supported many settings to gain Care Inspectorate Wales and tax-free childcare registration, improve and strengthen their governance through CIOs, and they've also been able to maximise their contact with settings, identifying and signposting to our many resources and to opportunities to upskill through play work qualifications. We know families struggle to pay for childcare and that clubs struggle to pay rent, wages, not to mention food and other resources. I regularly meet and speak to parents who are some of the estimated 800,000 eligible parents across the UK who do not access tax-free childcare and do not know about other benefits such as childcare offer and universal credit. I'm sure you'll hear a little bit more about the increase in childcare offer rate from Sharon. I urge you to support the sustainability of your setting and to support families in your own communities to go out of your way to understand and promote the support available to parents and carers and check with them that they are actually accessing it. As an organisation, we continue to engage with you all to be your voice, the voice of the sector, to influence decision makers at a national and local level. We'll now share some of the key findings of our fourth National Club Survey ahead of the full report being published. So, without further ado, I would like to ask Alex Fudge, our Development Manager based in South Wales, to bring you some of the headlines.
Thanks, Jane. So I wanted to say really a massive thank you to the 305 settings who responded to our survey that we shared in November last year. That's well over a third, which is a great response, and it gives us a real strong voice, as Jane mentioned, to accurately represent you to decision makers. And get that, refine that support, get it right. We said we'd provide pop people into a prize draw if they entered the survey, and I'm going to announce some winners of some free workshops, and we'll be in touch with them soon. From the South East Wales region is Cymru After School Club in Rhondda Cynon Taf, XL Wales Holiday Club in Swansea, and Cabin Ogwen Tregarth in Gwynedd. So well done to you. We'll be in touch very shortly. So what I found analysing the survey this year, and there are no big surprises is that the sector's drive for quality and inclusion is clear through demand for play work qualifications and professional development. Although we've qualified nearly 500 play workers this year so far, there are at least, well, there's actually nearly 900 wanting qualifications according to our survey. And that's just within the 305 settings. If we extrapolated that to all the settings in Wales, they'd probably be demand for about 2,500 play workers for play work qualifications. So there's plenty of work still to do, and thank goodness we got that extension. In terms of CPD as well, I'm just touching on some things here. There are over 90% of clubs taking a whole setting approach to using Welsh and anti-racism, for example, in their settings, which is great to hear. Clubs are providing, again, no surprises, clubs are providing play and socialisation opportunities for a high number of children with additional needs and a variety of wellbeing and support needs. We know the huge benefit play in clubs brings to children, and that there are challenges that come with this too. So we've got nearly 1,500 children with additional needs from that third of the sector, the out of school club sector. That's increased from 1,249 last year. Just remembering this is just in a third of clubs. Difficulty managing emotions and speech and language challenges continue to be the most common support needs. We've also seen some interesting increases, really, difficulty making new friends and other social skills, increasing levels of neurodiversity, poor independence, and also a little bit of a hike of poor physical fitness as well. So the webinars that we deliver, or we call them club hubs, that have been funded by the lottery, have addressed a lot of these needs over the last year. And going forward, if you look on our website, we're having webinars linked to promoting positive behaviour, tackling bullying, additional needs, any further ideas for training. I'm particularly interested around enhancing speech and language through play, maybe. Please pop it in the chat. I've got some comments as well from the survey. Staff are struggling to meet the needs of everyone who attends. There are children with additional needs. We're expected to work to ratio 1:8 when clearly they need support. I've asked the LA and they say there's no assistance. So these are some of the struggles. Since COVID, another one says more children have behaviour issues or additional needs, something we were aware of anyway. So it's clear as well that financial sustainability continues to be a significant challenge, and we still continue to see closures. However, on the plus side, we're supporting a lot of new services, new out-of-school clubs still to open, and 80% of the sector, of the respondees, say they need support with funding. 30% of our term time clubs and 40% of our holiday clubs are not sustainable or are unsure if they're sustainable. So that's still a pretty high percentage there. Somebody mentions that the impact of the national minimum wage on more senior management roles mean that, more senior management roles can't always get the same increase. Changes in sustainability since 2020. A quarter of our settings have not identified any sort of change in sustainability since 2020. Interestingly, we've got quite high proportions. Children are attending for fewer sessions each week, or more children registered across the same number of sessions or hours, which sort of speaks to me that instead of children attending 5 sessions a week, they might be attending 1, 2, 3 instead. Interestingly, and I think this is something we can probably help address, is there's more time chasing payment, and advance booking is lower, but families expect more flexibility. And we'll be looking at some information in our e-bulletin and our bond, perhaps resharing the late payment of fee policy to support with that area of work. So if you're not already signed up to those, please do so. They're on our website. Somebody says, I've answered some of these questions hypothetically because we've already closed the club because of lack of staff, fewer children attending, and parents not paying their bills. Certainly, the tighter business processes will help with that. Due to these sustainability reasons, clubs are considering the following. Closing the out-of-school club, that's only 7% and hasn't changed much from last year. Closing elements of the service, 10%, and that's dropped significantly from last year, around 21%. Reducing opening times remains the same, around 17%. Increasing fees, 50%. Down from 69%. Again, though, I'm guessing some of that increase in fees has already happened, but I'd urge settings to do a financial forecast and look at their income and fees and expenses and how to reduce those expenses on an annual basis. And our childcare business development officers can help with that. Sorry, Jane, could you put the slide forward, please? So that's a little bit of financial sustainability. Sorry, I got carried away and I hadn't seen the slides. So staff shortages, again, no surprise, are continuing to undermine the sustainability of the settings and their ability to meet waiting lists. So there are 840 children on waiting lists. Again, this is just within around a third of the settings in Wales. That's dropped from 919. But lack of staff and space are the main barriers to settings accepting those children. In terms of retention and recruitment, 408 staff have left the positions in those third of a clubs in the last 12 months. That's down from nearly 600. So that's good. And the majority are leaving 4 other jobs in the sector. That stays the same, around 53%. And 28% of staff had left for another job inside the sector. The registration with CIW hovers around the 85%, similar, 84% for tax-free childcare and 77% for the childcare offer. This provides a huge level of support for families. We know parents are struggling with fees, and it's interesting to see in the research that more time is spent chasing payment and so on. So that registration, as Jane's already mentioned, is really important. And with the childcare offer rate increased now to £6.40, and with 3 to 4 year olds able to be funded through 9 weeks of the school holidays, it would be really great to see the registration for the childcare offer, that 77% increase, particularly for holiday clubs. Qualified staff, lack of qualified staff and premises are frequently cited for not being registered with Care Inspectorate Wales. So just in conclusion, the support needs of the sector, the 4 key ones, because we've got a lot to get through to tonight. 80% of the respondents want support with funding, 46% with training, 42% with recruitment support, and 35% with qualifications. And as Jane says, look out for our full report in the spring. Thanks, Jane.
Thanks, Alex. Good to see those initial findings. And while things continue to be tough for the sector, I think there's some positives within the results. And we pledge to continue to represent you through our strategic plan with Welsh Government and a wider audience, to be your voice going forward, supporting your ongoing sustainability. Tonight is all about celebrating all that you do in the face of these challenges. You keep moving forward, supporting the children and families who rely on you. We have 10 awards for which we've received many worthy nominations, demonstrating the wonderful work going on in the sector. Shortlisted nominees for 3 of the categories for Out of School Childcare Club, Play Worker and Welsh Language Champion have already been shared with you for online voting, whilst the remaining winners have been selected by our panel made up of senior team and Board of Trustees. We've had to make some tough choices shortlisting and choosing winners, but we've been inspired reading the nominations. So here we see all of the shortlisted clubs. The awards that they've been nominated for are Out of School Childcare Club, Champions of Inclusion, Promoting Positive Diversity, Play Champions, Commitment to Continuing Professional Development, Welsh Language Champions, and Supporting Staff Wellbeing. Here we see the play workers and volunteers that have been nominated. The categories that they're up for are Play Worker of the Year, Learner of the Year, and Volunteer of the Year. We'll be revealing the winners throughout the evening, and some of them will even be joining us on screen tonight. A great pleasure now in introducing our first speaker, Sharon Eastlake, who's worked with Welsh Government since 2017. And before joining the Early Years Childcare and Play Division, worked for 5 years within Care Inspectorate Wales. Prior to this, Sharon had 17 years experience as a social worker within local authority children's services, which has obviously built a strong foundation for her current role. Sharon's going to give us some updates on the current work streams in Welsh Government. Thank you, Sharon. Over to you.
Diolch, Jane. Noswaith da I chi gyd. Good evening. It's a pleasure and privilege to join you this evening and be part of such an inspirational event, which celebrates your successes. Like many parents across Wales, I hugely valued the out-of-school childcare which was delivered within our local village. And I always enjoyed listening to the boys' stories coming out of club about the adventures that they had, and always admired the energy of the staff. So for those I haven't had the opportunity to speak to, I'm Sharon Eastlake. I head up the Childcare and Play Policy and Legislation branch in the Early Years and Childcare and Play Division in Welsh Government. As Jane outlined, I joined the division in late 2022, and I've been inspired by the passion and the skill of the childcare and play workforce, and your passion in helping the children have the very best experiences. I lead 3 teams across the division, dealing with a wide range of policy areas, which include taking forward the ministerial review of play actions, the National Minimum Standards Review, and the delivery of the Childcare and Early Years Capital Programme. I'm not sure how many of you are aware of the Capital Programme. It has 2 elements: major capital funding to support expansion refurbishing or building new childcare provision, and the small grants element, which is open to all settings which are registered with Care Inspectorate Wales, to apply for funds for equipment or for improvements in their facilities and infrastructure to improve play areas. If you require further information on this, please contact your local authority childcare leads, as they are responsible for administering the grant fund. Can I have the next slide, please? Diolch. So will I try succinctly to provide you an update from Welsh Government on the current policy development underway. We undertook a consultation on the professional registration between November 2023 and March 2024, and we published a summary of responses in June 2024. We received over 200 responses, which highlighted some issues and concerns felt from those working in the sector, including the costs, who should be included, and timing. We've considered these issues further, as well as considering wider policy work underway. And the Minister for Children and Social Care announced that she's decided to pause this work at this time. And we will come back and review this pause in 2027 once the outcome of wider policy work is known. Also, following feedback from the sector and Care Inspectorate Wales, calling for greater clarity, we've developed a circular on the use of liquid paracetamol with the input of health teams in Welsh Government. The circular was shared in December last year, and Culham are looking to develop a question and answer on some of the common questions which have arisen on teething, and some on the use of sachets over bottles for cross-contamination purposes. Also, on the 20th of February, Welsh Government published its final budget. It set out detailed plans for 25 to 26, and this includes extra funding for childcare. And in addition, from April this year, the hourly rate paid to childcare providers who deliver childcare offer for Wales will be £6.40 per hour. The final budget announcement demonstrates the Welsh Government's commitment to supporting children's opportunities to play, with additional £5 million capital funding to be allocated to local authorities to improve playgrounds and play spaces for children, which will be linked to play sufficiency assessments. I'm also really pleased that we will be able to provide continued funding for Culham to take forward Welsh medium activities to support the expansion of the Welsh medium childcare. One of these activities is the Cymru project, and it is wonderful to see this evening the impact this project is having across Wales. I know that childcare and play workforce continue to face significant attraction, recruitment and retention challenges. And we want to ensure that the workforce is an attractive, viable, long-term career choice for people. As Jane mentioned earlier, we have a training and support programme to ensure access to both mandatory and best practice training for all setting types. But the programme also supports the provision of relevant play work qualifications to ensure play workers can access the relevant qualifications and training to help them work effectively in the sector and support meeting the national minimum standards requirements. Also, last month, the Childcare and Play Work Fair Work Forum met for the first time on the 19th of February, and this was a commitment set out in the review and refresh of our 10-year workforce plan. I hope these announcements show that we are listening and how much we value and appreciate each of you working in the childcare and play work sector. We work closely with a wide range of stakeholders, including Culham Partners, Social Care Wales and Play Wales, who are charged with bringing us the issues and challenges raised by you to us. Your views and the issues you raise do make a difference. We have heard some challenges out-of-school childcare providers are experiencing, that you've experienced when based from school sites. As a result, we've met with the governing body Support Officers Network, who advise school governors across Wales. We were able to give an overview of the progress on ministerial review of play actions and highlight our aims in relation to play in schools. It was also a great opportunity to signpost to play resources. And we plan to further highlight this work by contributing to the Governor's Bulletin and put a spotlight on play and the benefits of out-of-school childcare. So this leads me nicely on to updating you on the ministerial review of play actions. And if we can have the next slide, please. Diolch. So since legislating for play, between 2019 and 2022, the Welsh Government undertook an in-depth and collaborative review of its play work policy and considered the progress made in achieving the Welsh Government's vision for play. The review report made key recommendations and suggested milestones for the Welsh Government to consider in building on the progress made in being a play-friendly country and giving children and young people sufficient opportunities to play. The Welsh Government responded to the report and we published the report in October 2023. And the response explained how we intended to proceed in taking forward or exploring further the recommendations and the actions we would take forward. So this year, on the 5th of March, we published the Play Progress Report, which demonstrates good progress has been made and outlines the actions we will take forward between now and May 2026 to achieve the anticipated outcomes from the review. There's further work to do to build on the progress to support Wales in being a play-friendly country. But we're unable to do this alone and in isolation. Our ambitions can only be achieved by us working collaboratively across Welsh Government policy areas and with key stakeholders, local authorities and partners. So some of the highlights are we've established a play implementation board to support oversight of the cross-policy work and taking forward the actions. This board meets 6 monthly and brings together all policy areas in Welsh Government which have an impact on play and work together to review and progress our actions. I'm really pleased that we've also established a Welsh Government Play Champions Network, which supports cross-policy work in improving play opportunities for children and young people and meets bi-monthly. And Clwbiau attended the very first Champions meeting to showcase the role of play workers. And these connections will also ensure children and young people's play is considered in any new guidance. We work collaboratively with Play Wales and local authority play leads to promote the importance of play and support children in having sufficient opportunities. We've reviewed and refreshed the suite of play sufficiency assessment documents and due to publish shortly the statutory guidance for local authorities. This work will support the positive work being taken forward by local authorities in improving the opportunities for children across Wales. This year we'll be refreshing the voluntary code of safeguarding practice and will ensure active engagement with the childcare, play and play work sectors during any consultation or events relating to the code. And we were pleased to learn that Clwbiau Plan Cymru have supported you with a published Safeguarding Health Check, which supports you to ensure policies, procedures and practices meet safeguarding requirements and duties. Within the Welsh Government, our aims for an anti-racist Wales and the work that we need to do to get there are set out in the Anti-Racist Wales Action Plan. The plan makes clear that there's a lot of work to do, but we're up to the challenge. Dapl and Cullum produced the Creating an Anti-Racist Culture in Settings toolkit, and this is a key and exciting development, as the toolkit aims to offer practical advice for settings on how to embody an anti-racist approach. We've also been engaging with the work of the Disability Rights Task Force to support the development of a Disability Rights Action Plan, as we want all children in Wales and young people to be able to access play opportunities and not denied their right to play and learn in their local area. Next slide, please, Diolch. So next I want to share some of the policy development work and reviews which are currently being taken forward by us, which will lead to public consultations later this year. So please look out for these and feed in your views. So we'll be currently taking forward a review on the national minimum standards. So between June and December last year, with the support of an advisory group, we engaged widely with a range of representatives from the sector to develop an understanding of how the NMS is working for them and considering challenges and impacts. So the current review aims to ensure that the standards support high quality play, learning and childcare provision. And the standards provide reassurance to parents that provision meets children's needs and well-being, equips providers to meet regulations and align to ECPLC principles, but also proportionate standards. So we'll be focusing on what potential changes are required to the NMS which supports these aims, and we'll be consulting on these later in the year. We've also been undertaking a comprehensive review of the exceptions order to ensure that the exceptions in place are proportionate and capture the services that really need to be registered with Care Inspectorate Wales and those that don't. So between April and December last year, officials in the division have engaged with a wide range of stakeholders to develop an understanding of how the exceptions order is applied across Wales. And we've engaged with over 400 participants, which include children, parents, and representatives from registered and unregistered sectors. And we're working again towards a public consultation on proposed changes on the exceptions in the summer. And part of this work has been exploring the need or requirement for a light touch register or a voluntary register or an approval scheme. And we are continuing to explore and develop these models, and we plan to consult on these along with the exceptions order consultation. And finally, we've also been reviewing the childcare sufficiency assessments. We've been working closely with local authorities as they take forward the childcare sufficiency assessments, and currently reviewing the process, which is a crucial step for us in taking forward a better understanding and addressing the current gaps and challenges in the childcare provision across Wales. Any changes we make in this process will help improve the identification of demand and supply of childcare required to meet the needs of families to enable parents to work and train. Next slide, please. So finally, please look out for these consultations when they're published, but we'll also share them with the clwbiau and cwlwr members in Play Wales. Your views are needed, and we greatly value your input in shaping our future childcare policies. Next slide, please. So before I conclude, I, along with everyone in the division, is committed to working with you, to listening, learning and being responsive. I'm so grateful for this opportunity to come to speak with you all this evening and join you in celebrating your successes, and hope that this is the first of many opportunities to engage with you all. Felly diolch yn fawr iawn yn wrando am y cyfle hyn o ymuno chi. Diolch yn fawr. Thank you.
Diolch, Sharon. We've had a few questions submitted in advance, but if anyone online, YouTube or on Facebook has questions they'd like to ask Sharon, please pop them in the comments or chat now, and we'll try and get to as many as we can. So, Sharon, one of the first questions, are there any specific outcomes or goals that are related to the childcare and play sector that Welsh Government are aiming to achieve in the upcoming years?
Okay. So we published our early childhood play and learning and care plan in March last year, which included our vision of developing and delivering a consistent approach to nurturing learning and development, and through provision of high quality play-based childcare. And in March this year, the plan will be published for a year and will show the progress that's been made, and an annual infographic will be published later in the summer. So linked to our Ministry Review of Play Aims, our ambitions and aims are, we want Wales where all babies, young children and families, children and young people and communities can thrive through enriched playful opportunities and experiences. So the aims for the upcoming year is for us to progress with our actions under the Ministerial Review of Play and work with local authorities and partners in creating sufficient opportunities for childcare and play in their local areas.
Diolch, Sharon, and we know that members of our team are doing a lot of work with you on a number of those actions, and so a busy year ahead. Thank you. Next question we've got is, what do you think is the most significant development in out-of-school childcare in recent years?
These are really good questions, aren't they? Fabulous. Significant developments for me is seeing the positive impact of your Cymell project, your Clybie's Cymell project. And I was able to see this firsthand in some of the visits I attended over the summer last year. And that was a privilege, really, to see that. The project, as you're aware, is designed to support the increase of Care Inspectorate Wales registered out-of-school settings and to increase the number of qualified Welsh-speaking play workers. And the Welsh Promise scheme that you have in aiming to increase the use of Welsh in English or bilingual in settings. So you know, good quality out-of-school clubs not only provide valuable play opportunities for children, but as we know and that I recognise firsthand, it is integral to support working families and to balance family commitments. Very much aware of the challenges ahead for out-of-school childcare sector and the changes in families' working patterns and how that's impacted post-COVID on the sector. So we very much want to continue working across policy areas to ensure that our policy developments and guidance especially for school and local authorities, support and promote the use of school grounds for childcare and play opportunities. So we'll be very much looking at creating opportunities to support you in the sector.
That's great. Thanks, Sharon. And we really appreciate being able to have open and candid conversations with you about the struggles. I know one of the most recent ones is about rent on school premises, and we know that you're helping us to address that and looking at hopefully some solutions. So really appreciate being able to be the voice and for your support, continued support there.
As mentioned earlier, the challenges you feed in really do make a difference and assist us in recognising challenges and then seeking solutions to these. So we've already linked in with colleagues in education policy to try and seek some solutions and support you with the rent challenges.
That's excellent. Thanks ever so much, Sharon. So one more question, I think. How can we get schools to embed more? How can we get more schools embedding play policies within their practice and prioritising quality play times?
Yeah, again, a really good question. And we're committed to work with partners, and we've worked closely with Play Wales and local authorities and across policies in looking at how we can promote the importance of play and ensure it's incorporated in any guidance and professional learning resources for school practitioners. And I know Martin's here today from Play Wales, and aware Play Wales have published a range of resources and tools for schools to assist. So we want children's break times to be protected and promoted, and keen to promote that, and that children are able to access quality play times. So last week I attended the Governor's Support Officers meeting, as I mentioned earlier, to highlight the importance of play and the protection of play breaks in particular. We had a really helpful and useful conversation on the importance of break times for children, and they were keen to learn more about that and learn more about the research that's been undertaken on play and its impact on children's well-being. So this year we'll be taking forward the actions under the key recommendations from the Ministerial Review of Play with regards to play in education and building on the progress that we've made so far just to improve children's opportunities in schools.
Excellent. That's great, and look forward to continuing to work with you on that. So I think that's all the questions that we've got time for at the moment. As I said, we've had some more come in, and we will we will follow up with them in an email after the conference over the next couple of days. So thanks ever so much, Sharon, for your presentation and for answering those questions. And I'd now like to ask you to present the award for Welsh Language Champion, which was voted for online by the public. Diolch, Sharon. Over to you.
Diolch yn fawr. So I have the honour in presenting the award for the Welsh Champion of the Year 2025. So this award is for an out-of-school childcare club that's championed the Welsh language and striven to improve the level of Welsh language incorporated into the setting and support their own learning and learning of others. This award goes to a well-run, successful service. So it's Ysgol Two Tribes, Seremoni. And the service was registered with Care Inspectorate Wales since July 2014. So it's situated approximately 1.5 miles from the Prince of Wales Bridge and is primarily in an English-speaking area. The club has fully engaged with Chyfleoedd Plant Cymru's Kids Club for many years, and staff have always recognised the importance of incorporating Welsh into the setting and had already started integrating some Welsh within the daily routine, even before undertaking the Camau course. The leadership and staff show enthusiasm and dedication towards encouraging the use of Welsh within the setting. And they greet all parents every day with a pnawn da. Da iawn, boys, y merched. And using the Welsh they have. This has resulted in very positive feedback from many parents and guardians regarding the use of their Welsh language, and Welsh-speaking guardians commenting that their efforts and some of the English medium parents now responding to the greetings in Welsh too, which is lovely to see. This club has updated their latest SAS to say, and I think there's a deadline on SAS looming too, a plug on SAS, to say that they are actively working towards the active offer, with staff eager to continue their great work and commitment towards the Welsh language and the active offer. So da iawn, Ysgol Two Tribes.
Thank you, Sharon, and llongyfarchiadau Two Tribes. Unfortunately, unable to accept the award on screen tonight. I know that the team, when they come back from a visit for Two Tribes, they're always raving about them, and I know that we've got some great case studies for them. So, llongyfarchiadau hefyd a dalati, keep it going. Okay, back to you, Sharon, for Camau course completers and Welsh Promise achievers.
Diolch, Jane. So now I'd like to present a roll call of Camau course completers, those who have undertaken an online Camau course to support their Welsh learning. Also, you will see a roll call of the clubs who have achieved either their bronze, silver or gold Welsh Promise last year in 2024. Both of these projects were supported by Welsh Government funding and support Welsh Government's aim of 1 million Welsh speakers by 2050.
And
That's fantastic. Thank you, Sharon, for introducing that, and thank you to all of those CAMI learners and the Welsh Promise achievers, and thank you to the team here who support that, one of our strategic goals. And thanks, Soph, for putting together that excellent video with very rousing music. I now have great pleasure in introducing our second speaker, Pip Dimmock, who's Chief Executive Officer at Interplay, a play charity that focuses on providing play for children and young people with disabilities and mental health support needs. Pip has worked within the disability sector for over 25 years. Pip will tell us how we can make play inclusive for all children and young people. Diolch, Pip, over to you.
I'll start all that again. Diolch. Noswaith. I have to firstly apologise. That is the limit of my Welsh. So I apologise to all Welsh speakers. I am very embarrassed after those fantastic awards that have just been given out. So to introduce myself, my name is Pip Dimmock, and I work for a charity called Interplay. And we have been facilitating play for disabled and neurodiverse children since 1996. And today I'm here to sort of talk about some of the things that I feel that people hear and are afraid of, and to give you some ideas of what it is to have inclusive play. Within play, we have lots of methodology about how we should facilitate it. As play workers, we learn lots of terminology that helps us understand this. But the most important thing to remember when supporting an additional needs child is that phrase, adulteration. When an adult steps in and interrupts or stops the play, it's seen time and time again in settings when it concerns risks or possible injury to an additional needs child, and it makes adults react before it is needed. Getting it right is a very fine balancing act, and it is down to knowing the child or the young person. Stepping in at the wrong time can often lead to a negative outcome, where the child or young person reacts in a way that challenges the adult or the environment, often seen as challenging behaviour. In play, we call that display, a behaviour triggered by an adult because they have misread the situation or even missed the cues to join in play. Therefore, ensuring that play workers facilitate a play space in a way that promotes positive behaviour is very, very important. Two of the most important tools that play workers are given in their training when working with children and young people with additional learning needs is SLURPs and WELLIes, acronyms that we need to remember, that remind us as play workers what we are there to do, when to watch, when to step in, and when not to. In short, just because a child has an additional need, a disability or a neurodiversity, they do not need to be wrapped in cotton wool. They may lack impulse control, that other children of their age have, but stopping their behaviours can cause physical pain and anxiety. Unless the child or others are in danger, just watch. Take advantage of this time to learn as much about the child and what they like and how they work things through as you can. It will help you and the child in the long run. As play workers, childcare professionals, nursery nurses, we all know that play is the building blocks of a child's development. However, the opportunities for disabled and neurodiverse children and young people are not as readily available. And this is due to many perceived factors. Disabled and neurodiverse children and young people need to be supported to play. They're going to need one-to-one support, which means we need more staff and higher costs. Disabled and neurodiverse children and young people do not understand risk and can easily get hurt. There's too much risk, and risk assessments cannot reduce the risk enough to keep these children safe. Disabled and neurodiverse children do not enjoy play in the same way as others. These are all perceived ideas, but they are not actual facts or truths. Disabled and neurodiverse children and young people may take longer to engage in an activity, or the activity may need to be adapted for them to join in, but they benefit in the same way. Play is a fundamental part of every childhood, whatever the child's level of understanding and ability. The first thing to remember when supporting a child with additional need is to get as much information as possible. Their parents and carers are your allies. They're the best source of information when it comes to what their child wants and needs. But it's important to understand that they will also likely be the most critical of their child due to the negative input they've had from society. And it's very important to have a positive relationship with the family, to build trust between the staff and the parent and carers. It's vital when you're providing play for an additional learning needs child. One of the reasons for this is because the child that you have in your setting will probably not be the child they have at home. They need to trust you when you describe the angel that you are looking after and supporting. And that's because as play workers, it's our job to enable the child to have the freedom and the space to learn their own strengths through play. And once that starts to happen in the play setting, they'll start to use those strategies at home, and then everyone will be happier. Communication. At Interplay, we get many referrals for non-verbal children, which say they have challenging behaviour and can be aggressive. And let's be honest, this can be quite worrying and concerning for a team that is not used to working with additional learning needs children. We've had one such referral that on paper described a 6-year-old child with autism almost as a wild animal. However, as a team that are used to working with autistic and neurodiverse children, instead of putting in precautions and barriers to prevent risk and therefore stop play, the Interplay team spent time watching and observing the child to see what made them aggressive. And it didn't take long to understand they had a possessive obsession with teddy bears and soft toys. They would play with a soft toy and they would put it down and walk away. But then another child would come and pick it up, and this would be seen by this child, who would then become aggressive and we'd have fights break out. But we understood that we could not remove every soft toy. Not all triggers can be removed in the real world. So what the staff did instead was, once he'd stopped playing with the toy and walked away, they would remove that specific toy from the play space. There would be no outburst. The child with the obsession wouldn't get upset. Other children wouldn't get upset. Then after lunch or sometime later in the day, when this child was then playing with something else, we would return that toy to the play space. So all the children got to play with it, but we reduced the amount of outbursts and upset that would happen within the play space. I mean, when working with non-verbal children, it's important to remember that they may not be able to develop communication skills in the same way as children that have verbal communication. However, without play, they do not get the opportunity to explore their environment, to start to understand their own likes and dislikes, and therefore to be able to communicate those to others. Not being able to be understood can be really frustrating, and that often leads to even more challenging behaviour. Lack of play can be a self-fulfilling prophecy. A child does not understand risk, and therefore is not safe to take them to the park. Therefore, the only experience is at home, alone with their siblings, or in a limited play that's available in school in a very safe and controlled environment. Therefore, play provision being safe and accessible for all is imperative. We had one such case where a 12-year-old came to us with an ADHD diagnosis. He explained to staff that he'd been put forward by the school for anger management. He was 12, because he was always angry and regularly had outbursts and meltdowns. Interplay staff spent time getting to know the young person and realised that in all environments, he was always treated like the child. He didn't feel listened to at home or at school. So staff gave him the time to find out what he wanted to do, ensuring that he had the space to settle himself. They listened. If he suggested an activity that he would like at the next session, one of them was to play a group game of Monopoly, then staff would do their best to accommodate it. Not only does he now feel he is listened to, he also understands that staff are human, and that on the rare occasion when they forget to or cannot provide what he wants, that he will consider an alternative suggestion and try something else instead, a practice that now also happens at home. Interplay staff never saw the person that was described on his referral form, as they supported him in the right way from day one. We're told that neurodiverse children need structure and familiarity, and that they need to recognise and feel safe in an environment. Many parents will tell you that the most important thing about your play setting is to enable their child to join in, is that it's the same and everything is familiar all the time. But this safety can stop them from being stimulated, and boredom can then lead to behaviours that challenge. We learnt this in the hard way. Although Interplay was facilitating play for over 30 years, we can also get it wrong. When we set up a high support needs Holly provision 4 years ago, we did just that. We gave them a space that they recognised and could navigate themselves. Everything was in the same place. A bit like a nursery, we set out zones. And at first it was great. The children were awesome. They would come straight in and they would go to where they knew like X, Y, this was going to be and that's going to be. And it was brilliant. What we never considered was that the challenge was to come to the setting somewhere new. When this challenge had been overcome, even the calmest of the children started to show negative behaviour due to boredom. The familiarity they needed was the staff and the setting, the same building every time. But to keep up the challenge that age development through play, we needed to change things and mix things up. For the children that we support, they've got an attention span of about 20 minutes, or maybe even less. It's unlikely to be the case within many of your settings, but it is important to remember development may not always be about risk, but it is about choice, new experiences, and the ability for children to self-challenge. Going back to what I said earlier, if the child is not able to learn to keep themselves safe, then they're never going to go to the park. They can also lead to children being risk averse, and they're not able to trust their own judgment or ability to handle new situations. As play workers, it's up to us. The space we provide is inclusive for all.
Thanks, Pip, for that. It's really interesting to hear how you develop and change things up in order to support the children within your setting. And I know that you've got some great ideas on this subject and that you're going to be doing some club hubs for us later in the year. Excuse me, I got a tickle in my throat. So I know that you're going to be presenting 2 awards for us this evening, one of which is promoting positive diversity. So before we get to those awards,
I thought I got away with it.
We have had some questions submitted in advance. As I mentioned, online. If you've got any other questions for Pip, then please can you put them in the comments and chat on YouTube or Facebook. So first question is, sorry. Hi Pip, what advice would you give to someone starting out in the out of school sector, encouraging them to think inclusively about all children when planning an outdoor activity?
This is a really interesting question, because we're talking about starting out. And my first answer would be to consider the children, okay? You know, if you don't know them and you know that you're going to have additional learning needs children in the group, it may not be the first thing you should do. That would be my first comment, because you need to know the children that you're going to be taking out. And this may, the rest of what I'm about to say may sound counterintuitive, but I would say, think about the worst case scenario, okay? Start with, what is the worst thing that can happen, okay? And start a plan for that, and then remind yourself why you're doing this in the first place, okay? You're doing it to give these children the ability to play and to develop. So, something someone always used to say to me about play, if you're going to have additional needs play, then first thing you need is staff that can run, okay? You know, children will run faster than most of us of a certain age. So if you're going to do it, make sure you have children that can run. You have staff that are really great communicators. They're not shouters. They're ones that can stop a child with a look, okay? I have a few of those in my team, yeah? And to be honest, always have a backup plan. If today is not the day, then it's not today. You know what it's like, you know, they can all have been absolute angels when you last saw them, and they turn up today and there's been something bad at school, and it doesn't matter if it's a mainstream child or an additional learning needs child. Yeah, if today's not the day, do something else. Okay.
That's great. Thanks, Pip. Great advice there. And I'll reiterate, book on to the club hubs in June and July with Pip for more ideas of that nature. Next question is, what are your top tips for ensuring children with additional needs thrive within a universal setting?
It is inclusivity, okay? It happens an awful lot when you're when you've had a setting where you haven't had any children with a disability or neurodiversity. There is this whole fear. I totally understand it. That this, you know, you're going to need to put in specific support for this child. What you actually end up doing is segregating that child. You've made all these adjustments so that this child can have something to do, but it's about actually looking at what you already do and seeing, yeah, that'll work. You know, yeah, you know, you're never going to get it right first time. Now, that's the other thing, is that people feel that, oh my God, we're not getting it right. You know, you saw in my presentation, we don't get it right. We've just learned that we're not always going to get it right. So my top tip is, like, you know, if you're making adaptations, and is to make sure that it's for every child to be part of. Yeah, that's how you make it work, and it is that whole thing. I mean, I like the word universal setting. That is, I'm coining that, if you don't mind, Megan. That's brilliant. But yes, it's about looking what every child can do, not what I need to do for that one specific child.
Great advice. Thank you. Next question is, what would you say are the top 3 things to focus on as an organisation that supports sustainability of the setting?
Right, I'm going to start with, we're a third sector organisation, so I'm going to say money, okay? So I'm going to park that, which is my number 1, okay? And I'll go on to having a playwork team that trust each other, that are comfortable and can change things on a sixpence without having long discussions and communication. For me, it's imperative for staff to want to stay because they feel that they are needed and they are important. And the third thing is, I suppose, playwork training. Absolutely. It's if you want staff to stay, then give them a qualification that shows them how important what they do is. It goes without saying. But yeah. That would be it.
That's great. Yeah, and I love that team that trust each other and able to change dynamically. Certainly, I know that the whole of my team do that. Whilst not maybe delivering directly to children, I know that they have to. It's really important that they're able to change on a sixpence, as you say. Our next question is, how do you support the parents of children with additional needs in seeing the value of risk in their play?
There is only one way to support parents, because the only way they learn is by showing them. We have learned that, we've had lots of parents, oh, my child won't want to do that. My child doesn't like that. My child can't do that. And the only way you can ever show them that the value of risk is by showing them the value of risk, showing them what difference that makes. It's a joy to see happiness and joy on a child's face, right? But to see happiness and joy on a parent who has been told their child is a nightmare, their child is the disruptor, their child is this, that, and the other, and actually you're saying your child is excellent, your child is amazing, look at what your child can do. And so that it's the only way you can really get them to understand is to show them. And I know that's hard because actually, when you're trying to explain it to a parent, it can be difficult. I do have one setting. It's not something we do in every setting, and they have a Facebook page where they have the parents' permission, and they put up photos of everything that happens every day. And these are profoundly disabled children that go to this setting. And there's pictures of children with hardly any movement using the hose from a fire engine. There's a risk in that, but parents are so proud of what their child can do, they forget about the risks that might be involved.
Yeah, I think having a new granddaughter, I've learnt more about allowing risk, although I maybe need to do some more learning on that as well. But yeah, definitely the value of that. That's great. Some comments coming in from Facebook about your answers there. It's about wanting to make it right and testing and learning, seeing what works for that child. Awesome, Pip, inspiring. And Dawn says, great points, Pip. Thanks for advocating our training. That's great. So those are all our questions for now. As I said, we have had some more and we will follow up after the event with Pip's answers. So Pip, if I can now ask you to present the following awards. So we've got Promoting Positive Diversity is the first one.
Okay, first I'd like to say that both of the awards that I'm presenting are really, really close to my heart. So I'm going to promoting positive diversity. So the Positive Diversity is an out-of-school club which has focused on creating an enriched culture where all employees, children and families can flourish and celebrate their diversity and differences within an inclusive ethos. I am pleased to nominate Temps After School Club for this award in recognition of their exceptional commitment to diversity and inclusion. The organisation has employed a lady from Ukraine, providing her with invaluable support as she settles into the local community. The trustees and staff at Temps have gone above and beyond to assist her in finding local accommodation for herself and her 2 children. They've also played an instrumental role in setting up her home by donating essential items, ensuring that she and her family feel welcome and supported. Recognising her need for language skill development and in line with the government requirements for her working visa, the club staff, for permission to stay in the UK, she attends English lessons at the local college, and a member of the club staff provides practical assistance by looking after the children while she does it. To further support her, the committee has arranged a free play session for one of the children at the club, enabling to benefit from the continuity of care and enjoy a safe, inclusive environment along with their peers. This thoughtful and collaborative approach demonstrates the club's commitment to fostering an inclusive and supportive atmosphere for all families, regardless of their background, and a great example of how community-focused organisations can make a profound difference in the lives of individual families, creating a truly inclusive environment where everyone feels valued.
An excellent example of promoting positive diversity, and congratulations to Temps, who we were hoping would be waiting backstage for their award, but I understand they've not yet joined. So unfortunately, we can't celebrate with them live on screen. But well done to Beryl and Linda and the team at Temps on winning the Promoting Positive Diversity Award. I'll hand back to you now, Pip, for the Champions of Inclusion Award.
Okay, so the Champions of Inclusion Award is an out-of-school childcare club that works hard to provide inclusive quality provision and to welcome, support, accessibility for all children and staff. And I am very pleased that the award goes to Dylan's Den, because they have gone above and beyond to help children from all walks of life. The children learn about different cultures, different abilities of children, and how to support each other. All staff are trained in additional learning needs, equality and diversity, as well as equal opportunities. Dylan's Den are proud of their staff and who work the hardest to make Dylan's Den its as fully inclusive quality provision that it is.
Llongyfarchiadau Dylan's Den and the team there. Again, unfortunately, they're unable to join us on screen tonight, but I know that they are watching at home, and I've seen them in the comments as well. So llongyfarchiadau, and thank you, Pip, for presenting those awards. I'd now like to introduce Dawn Byrne, our National Training Manager, who leads an enthusiastic and experienced training team who've supported play workers to achieve great results. The team has a strong reputation in the playwork sector and are rated excellent by learners and the awarding body for playwork qualifications, NCFE, who are one of our sponsor partners this evening. As mentioned earlier, winners of the Professional Development Awards at the 16th Annual Playwork Awards. They've also worked exceptionally well in partnership with Agorid to deliver their playwork qualifications, increasing the range of training options available. Over to you, Dawn.
Thanks, Jane. I'm incredibly proud of the training team and the work that they do. They continue to be a dynamic and inspiring training team, and the training officers are always a great advocate for play. But thanks also needs to go to our amazing learners. Who we couldn't do our jobs if it wasn't for them. They make it rewarding, and the commitment that they show to their training and their settings motivate us to do our very best. So this is kind of one of my favourite parts of the conference, and it's when we celebrate our graduates. So just a massive congratulations to all of those that graduated in 2024. Wow. So as you can see, 2024 saw us have an amazing number of play workers engaging in training and enhancing their practice and qualifying. And if you were a keen eye there, you would have seen that Pip from Interplay's name was on the roll call there of achievers when she achieved her level 5. It's been a true pleasure to work with play workers across Wales, fully embracing play work theory and practice. And we feel honoured to be part of their journey as they develop in their profession. So just once again, congratulations to all of them that have achieved their qualification in 2024. And spoiler alert, I think we're going to have more in this year as well. So hopefully next year, that'll be another big roll call to be looking at. So next, I get another privilege. It's a lovely evening for me. I get to introduce the Learner of the Year, which was voted for online by the public. There was stiff competition once again. As you can see, we've had a lot of learners. And every candidate was a very deserving candidate indeed. The Learner of the Year is a learner who has worked hard to achieve and make progress towards a qualification with Clwbiau Plant Cymru Kids Clubs. This may be involving supporting peers, participating well in sessions, making the most of learning experiences, or overcoming challenges with passion and determination. And I'm delighted to announce that the winner is Jasmine Williams from Gofal Plantas Persa. I think she's joining us. Maybe. Are we being stood up again?
I think we are. I thought we were hoping to welcome Jasmine to the screen, but unfortunately, Jasmine's not been able to make it just yet. Potentially, if she can join later on, we can congratulate her. Jasmine, for being Learner of the Year.
Yeah, you disappeared for a second then, but it's glad to have you back. But no, some of the highlights that were said about Jasmine was she's shown determination, she's overcome challenges, she donates her free time, which is exceptional, to support other people within the organisation, and the children in the setting just adore working with her, which is always great because, you know, children's voices are paramount. So next I get to introduce Martin Kingshire from the Workforce Development Officer from Play Wales. So he should be popping up on our screens any moment. There he is. Martin had the unenviable task of shortlisting the Play Work of the Year award, and he whittled down the excellent candidates down to the last 3, which were presented to public voting, and then the winner was chosen. So Play Wales also kindly sponsored this award as well for the 2nd year running. So it's great. We do quite a lot of work with Martin and his colleagues in Play Wales, and it's always great to have such strong partnerships with them as additional keen advocates for play. So over to you, Martin.
Diolch, Dawn. Noswaith pawb. Diolch am y cyfle I siarad yma heno. Nice to be here. Nice to have the opportunity to speak tonight. Yeah, it's a real pleasure to be here. I'm really proud, as Dawn's just said, of the partnership we've generated with Clwbiau Plant Cymru. We work together closely. Play Wales as the national charity for children's play, but play work is our very core. The sort of core staff are all play workers by trade. And I'm also minded that this year is 20 years since the Playwork Principles were officially adopted. And Play Wales led that development on behalf of the UK with the Playwork Principles scrutiny group. And those principles are still principles that underpin the ethos and values of play work for all of us here today as play workers. So it's great to be here to announce the Play Worker of the Year. I do think these awards are really important. It's really great to hear all of the work that's going on out there in the sector. Really important we recognise the impact that the playwork sector has on the lives of children and families. It's great to have the opportunity to just take stock and celebrate success and demonstrate to our partners and other stakeholders and each other the value that our sector holds for children and families, and for us as play workers and people working in the out-of-school childcare sector. So that is why Play Wales are very proud to sponsor the Play Worker of the Year award. I would say the shortlisted nominees were all excellent, as were those that didn't make the shortlist. but I am here to announce the winner. So the Playwork of the Year award is for a play worker who embodies those playwork principles and who's gone above and beyond to provide an excellent service. And the winner is Leanne Stevens from Two Tribes After School Club in Monmouthshire. Llongyfarchiadau, Leanne, excellent work. I believe she's not here. So I'll say what was said about her in the nomination. Leanne is a highly valued member of the team. She goes above and beyond to ensure that the children at the club are happy, engaged, entertained, and they feel safe. She's been the driving force behind us being awarded our Silver Welsh Promise Award. She supports the management team and the rest of the team in our continued commitment to promoting our national language at the club. She has independently developed a Dysgu Cymraeg folder where keywords and phrases can be found to support the children and play workers. She organises fun sessions and games with the children to promote Welsh through play, and she is very deserving of this award, and we thank her for her dedication, and I would echo that thanks as well. So I think that's it from me. I shall hand back over to either Dawn or Jane. Diolch.
Thank you, Martin. And it's just great to see our continued relationship developing. Sorry, I've got the most horrendous tickle in the back of my throat. Just great timing. And yeah, great to see all the work that we're doing together. Thank you ever so much for sponsoring the Play Worker of the Year Award and for being here with us tonight to present it. Excellent. And diolch hefyd.
That's a pleasure. Diolch fawr.
I'd now like to ask Nicole, our development manager based in North Wales, to present the following awards: Commitment to Continuing Professional Development and Play Champion. Over to you, Nicole.
Diolch, Jane. So alongside gaining a playwork qualification, continued professional development enhances knowledge and skills on an ongoing basis. This award is for an out-of-school childcare club that is committed to encouraging and supporting its staff to attend training and workshops to enhance their professional development, supporting quality childcare provision. And the winner is Bridging the Gap in Merthyr Tydfil. Bridging the Gap couldn't attend tonight, but they have sent us in a picture of them celebrating their 18th birthday. So Bridging the Gap is a fully inclusive after-school and holiday club for children aged 3 to 19 with additional needs. Lisa, the manager of the setting, has developed her learning and understanding, keeping her knowledge up to date. She has attended various club hubs, working through the out-of-school childcare assessment that we lovingly call the OSCAR, safeguarding health check and anti-racism toolkit. Her effort has been a great example to staff, encouraging them to also attend CPD training. The next award that I get to present is for Play Champion, and that's for the out-of-school childcare club that champions children's right to play, providing high-quality play opportunities. And the winner for this award is Clwb Gysylltiedig in Ceredigion. Now, I am hoping I've actually pronounced that right. I think we were hoping that Leanne from Club would be here, but I'm not sure if she's here or not. But if she isn't, then what they've said about the club is play is at the heart of everything they do at Clwb Gysylltiedig. They have recently developed their own play-agogy lead, which is wonderful. They identify staff interests and skills and have a gardening club, cooking skills and have a forest school leaders, making sure children's play outside, whatever the weather. They recently utilised the Welsh Government Small Capital Grant Scheme to develop an outside play space. This play space has actually benefited the club, the school and the Cylch Meithrin. Their CIW inspection report states, people who run the setting offer a friendly and welcoming environment. They provide excellent spaces for children to play and socialise with each other, and where they have the freedom to move around independently and safely. People who run the setting and staff prepare the play spaces carefully to allow children to have the best possible experiences. I will now pass over to Alex to present the following awards: Supporting Staff Wellbeing and Volunteer of the Year. Over to you, Alex.
Thank you, diolch, Nicole. So a happy workforce is a strong workforce, and working in childcare and play work can be rewarding and also very, very busy and challenging, which may leave staff feeling emotionally and physically tired, which is why our next award, Supporting Staff Wellbeing, is so critical, really, having colleagues looking out for you and strategies to make sure that you can carry on and pass on those benefits to the children and families you support. So, supporting staff wellbeing, the award is for a manager, owner, play leader or committee that has striven to support the mental health and wellbeing of their staff to create a healthy, positive work environment. And the winner is my Trinfa Plantos nursery in Cardiff. The nomination was that the welfare and children of staff is on the agenda of every meeting within the nursery. The owner shares information monthly about different topics to help with mental health. Hi, Lowry from Plantos. Massive congratulations. I'm just going to present your, the reason why you won this award, and then I'll hand over to you. But great, well done. The owner shares information monthly about different topics to help with mental health. The 3 managers and mental health first aiders deliver a welfare calendar to all members of staff monthly, and also direct them to helpline numbers, a self-help box, bulletins on the walls, surveys, nights out, takeaways, treats for the staff and gifts at Christmas, and also certificates for attendance. Wellbeing is also a point in our quarterly staffing one-to-one reviews. Well done. Over to you.
Oh, diolch. Thank you. That was a nice surprise. Thank you, everyone. And thank you for a nice evening as well. It's been really informative. And yeah, I'm glad I joined and got to listen to all the presentations.
Diolch, Lowry, and thank you for joining. I was starting to panic that our whole StreamYard was going a little bit haywire tonight, but great that you've been able to join us. And llongyfarchiadau hefyd gwabeir this evening, heno. Sorry, in my pidgin Welsh. Thanks ever so much, Lowry. Really appreciate it. And I do believe that one of our previous winners has now managed to join us on StreamYard here. Leanne, I'm going to pass you back to Nicole, who presented your award. Congratulations.
Congratulations, Leanne. Very well deserved winner of the Play Champion Award.
Thank you very much. It was just a shock to win, to be honest. I wasn't expecting it, which is why I wasn't on yet. But we really appreciate all the help and support that Club EI give us, and that we're just there for the children. Everything that we do is all for the children. So thank you.
Well done. Congratulations.
Llongyfarchiadau, Leanne. Thank you very much.
So volunteers give up their time to cover a whole breadth of roles within childcare and play work, from the estimated 1,000 volunteer committee members, including our own board of trustees, to those supporting play in the set. And I want to take this opportunity really to say thank you to all those who volunteer in the clubs. The sector couldn't do without you. So Volunteer of Volunteer of the Year award, that's actually really hard to say. This is a volunteer who has worked hard and invested their own time to support their local out-of-school childcare club and community. So this was actually chosen by our Board of Trustees, and the winner is Mena Macrath from Clwb Plant Sigontium in Gwynedd. Congratulations, da iawn. Mena has been a godsend to our club by helping to support the development of the club going through the tendering process, and I hear that is really, really challenging, as well as supporting and being an active member of the committee. Mena's been a secretary for just under 2 years, and even though she works daily and as a family at home, she's given us so much support and her time to help bring the club forward. Mena's been able to use her professional experience working with Mudiad Maithrin to help support us with policies and procedures, as well as other administrative things. Mena's supported our staff to gain their qualifications and has let the staff shadow her work with Mudiad in support of their ongoing professional development. We thank Mena for tirelessly working to support our club. Da iawn, Mena.
Llongfarchiadau, Mena, and I think that we have a member of Clwb Plant Sigontium online, and hopefully, Angharad, will you be able to just accept the award on behalf of Mena for us this evening? Oh, unfortunately, we can't hear you, Angharad.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Diolch yn fawr iawn. Dwi'n fwy na parod i derbyn hwn ar ran Mena. Dwi'n siŵr bod wedi wrth i bodd cael clywed bod hi wedi ennill y wobr yma.
Diolch, Angharad, and great work. We couldn't do without volunteers in the sector, so thanks ever so much, and thanks to Mena for the support she gives your club. And on the topic of volunteers, I'd like to give a shout out to one of our members of the Board of Trustee who volunteers as a trustee. Jan Owen from Cool Kids at Craddock has recently retired after 23 years service with Cool Kids, and she's a great support to me and to the organisation as a member of our Board of Trustees, and she's a great play leader and advocate for play. And so congratulations on your retirement, Jan, and thank you for your ongoing support. So that brings us on to our final award of the night, which is sponsored by Pure Cyber. So Pure Cyber support us as an organisation to remain cyber secure and to ensure we have Cyber Essentials Plus accreditation. They'll be presenting at a club hub in the autumn, supporting our clubs to ensure that the data they keep online is secure. They'll also be offering the opportunity to test the security of the club systems and be able to give you action plans and advice on how to improve your online security. So on to the Out of School Childcare Club of the Year, sponsored by, as I say, by Pure Cyber. This is a setting that embodies the Playwork principles, and that is an excellent example of the benefit of quality play and childcare for children, families and communities. And the winner is Clwb Gygerddon from Ceredigion. And I hope that Leanne is with us and will join us on screen now. No, unfortunately, Leanne's not able to join us. A quote from Pure Cyber who are the sponsors. Many congratulations to Clwb Gysylltiedig in achieving Out of School Club of the Year. What an achievement to be recognised by parents and peers as such a standout example of quality play and exceptional childcare in the community. Llongyfarchiadau again hefyd Clwb Gysylltiedig. So that brings us to the end of, as we draw to a close at the end of our conference and awards ceremony this evening. I'd like to thank our conference sponsors and diolch hefyd to Sharon and Pip for your inspirational words of advice for the sector. Thanks to Martin for his ongoing support and for shortlisting and presenting the award. Some key takeaways from the survey. We need to continue to work to support the sector, to recruit and retain more play workers. One of the stats coming out of the survey is that, again, 53% of those that have left a job in a club this year have left it for another sector. So ongoing work with Welsh Government and Cullen partners to secure recruitment and retention for the sector. Obviously, some still sustainability. We will continue to support those clubs that have said they're going to close or change elements or reduce hours. We'll look at our childcare business development officers and our project funding to help them negotiate these changes and challenges. Great that fees are, that clubs looking to increase fees is down. The percentage is down from last year, but need to be mindful about strong business planning. And we certainly don't want the 10% of clubs that are considering deregistration with Care Inspectorate Wales. We'll look to support them to hopefully maintain their registration. As Sharon said, we'll continue to work with Welsh Government. We'll use the data from the survey to support the individual clubs in any actions that we can that they've indicated they need support with. And as always, the data will be used to support our strategic plan for 25-26. I really relish the thought of our ongoing work with Welsh Government. Thank them for continued funding, obviously through the Cullen Partnership, but also for our Cymell project and our training and support project. Without this funding, we wouldn't be able to achieve half of what we do. I will remind you and keep reminding you to look out for those consultations that are due out spring, summer. There's going to be 3 of them at least, I believe. We will be holding events. We will be asking for you to share your voice in order for us to support and give that voice back to Welsh Government. Thanks for everyone, for the whole team that have worked on the ceremony, the presentation and the awards this evening. Just 5 days on from Employee Appreciation Day, much like Clwb Gysylltiedig, I recognise that our biggest asset is our team of staff. I'd personally like to thank them for the support they give to the out-of-school childcare sector with such passion and professionalism. Not only that, the support that they give to me in what's been a tricky year. I couldn't do what I do without them, and thank you for all of you for your support. Most of all, I'd like to thank the sector for your role in helping to improve the lives of children, their families, and supporting communities in Wales to prosper. All prize winners this evening will be receiving a trophy to celebrate their achievement, and hopefully we'll be able to get some photos with you in club receiving those to share your success. So bringing it to a close, if you would be so kind as to support us by completing the evaluation found on the QR code on screen. If you can scan it with your phone, you'll be able to access a short form which will help us to evaluate how well, in your opinion, tonight went, and to build on this again for next year. Alternatively, there's a link in the comments that you can use if you can't scan that QR code. As a small incentive, at the end of the evaluation, there's a link to a virtual goodie bag with a number of resources and some resources from our sponsors. Diolch o galon. Thank you all for your time this evening and continuing to provide vital support to children and families in Wales. Diolch.